So today we have an exceptional video lined up for you. We are going to find out who is better at creating a winning tactic in FM23. Is it man or is it machine? On one side, we have GYR, one of the top tactic creators in the Football Manager scene, known for his strategic genius and in-depth knowledge of the game. And on the other side, we have ChatGPT, the AI developed by OpenAI, known for its ability to generate human-like text based on the data it's trained on. The objective of this video is simple. Both will create a unique tactic for the same team, in this case Manchester United, and we'll see how each fare over the course of a season in Football Manager. So the idea is that they have to put together everything for this tactic. They have to decide upon the formation, the player roles, the player instructions, the set piece takers, who is standing where on the set pieces, etc., to make this the most comprehensive tactic that they can make. However, I will be giving them just one season as a test run. Once they've completed the test run, I will either give Gareth the data or submit the data into ChatGPT to make some amendments, see what they see out of the data hub, and obviously try and make the tactic better. We will then run everything a second time on the same save to find out which one is the winner overall. So first up on the screen is GYR's first version of this tactic. It's a relatively straightforward 4-2-3-1. As you can see here, a wing back on attack on the right hand side, full back on attack on the left hand side, a ball winning midfielder, a roaming playmaker, inverted winger, advanced playmaker, inside forward, and then obviously the advanced forward up top. It looks pretty standard, but I can assure you G knows what he's doing with an FM23 tactic. So let's simulate the season and get into the results. Okay, so not bad for something that he has thrown together relatively quickly. They did finish in second in the Premier League, just the 3 points behind Liverpool. It's not actually awful. They also were knocked out in the third round of the Emirates FA Cup by Arsenal. They were knocked out in the third round of the Carabao Cup by Arsenal. And if we go into the schedule, you can see that they lost the Europa League final to Arsenal. So it's very interesting to see that they were knocked out of all the cup competitions by Arsenal and ultimately did finish second inside the Premier League. So GYR has set the bar relatively high. Let's see what the AI can do. So for the ChatGPT portion of this video, I will use a series of prompts to ask it to suggest a tactic for Manchester United. So this was actually very interesting with what ChatGPT put together. It actually told me that it wanted to do a 4-2-3-1, but when we actually detailed the player roles, it said that it wanted an anchor in a defensive midfield spot. So this is what I've put together for it. Obviously the wing backs on both sides, two ball playing defenders. Then we have the anchor, which I assume in this instance will be Casemiro, a deep line playmaker on support, inside forwards on both sides, which is slightly different to what G did, an advanced playmaker on attack in the same role, and then a complete forward up top. Now, you don't really see too many complete forwards on FM this year, so let's simulate what ChatGPT does in run number 1. So, looking at the competitions tab for run number 1 with ChatGPT, it finished inside the top 4 with Manchester United, just the 70 points in the season, which isn't actually too great. It did lose 10 games as well. I think it will be able to identify some of the holes in this one. In the Europa League, got knocked out in the quarterfinals by Porto, so G's tactic got to the final, did get to the quarterfinals of the Emirates FA Cup though, but disappointingly lost to Brighton and was knocked out in the third round of the Carabao Cup by Liverpool. So it looks like GYR has come out on top of run number 1, but let's give both of them an opportunity to improve upon their season using the information out of the data hub. So this is actually very, very interesting. This is GYR's tactic for the second run, and it's really interesting because it's actually similar to what ChatGPT put out in the first instance. What he's done here is he's dropped one of the midfielders. He did have a ball-winning midfielder here. He's now dropped that person into the defensive midfielder, and he's changed the mentality from a positive mentality to a attacking mentality, and he's labeled this one #BlazersOut, which I'm sure you Manchester United fans will enjoy. Other than that, he's not changed in abundance. Let's go and run it a second time and see how he gets on. So this is a very, very interesting results page because it has actually got itself a league and cup double. Okay, yes, it did secure less points than it did in the first instance, but obviously the simulation happened slightly different each time, but it did come out and win the Premier League. It also got to the final of the Carabao Cup, where unfortunately they were bested by Liverpool. Marcus Rashford and Anthony Martial were the goals for United, but in extra time, goals from Joel Matip and Harvey Elliott were enough to see Liverpool lift the first trophy of the season that United were eligible for. The second trophy that they were eligible for was the FA Cup, and in this instance they absolutely annihilated Crystal Palace, winning 5-1 with goals from Marcus Rashford, 2 from Rashford, 2 from Jadon Sancho, and 1 from Luke Shaw as well. They did also in this instance get to the final of the Europa League, where Bruno Fernandes opened the scoring, Matteo Cancellieri cancelled that one out, and then a brace from my guy Ciro Immobile. So United fans, let me know what you think. A league and cup double is actually not too shabby. Let's see what happens when ChatGPT is actually fed data to improve on the tactic that it provided. So I submitted the league data from the previous season into ChatGPT to enable it to learn from its mistakes and make a better tactic. And this is what it came up with. So I said this was very interesting because this is what ChatGPT spat out a second time around. So the few main changes on here, obviously it was a straight line in midfield with a defensive, with an anchor sat here. They've now pushed that player up, so it is a standard 4-2-3-1. Very interesting that G went one way and ChatGPT went the other way, and they almost kind of swapped. But there is a deep line playmaker now alongside a box-to-box midfielder. The role on the left wing has now been changed to a winger on attack, and also the complete forward has been changed to an advanced forward up top. And even ChatGPT even named this tactic. It is called Controlled Dominance 2.0. So let's actually see how this one gets on with a simulation. Not bad, ChatGPT. Not bad at all. So it didn't actually win the Premier League. It did finish in second, just 7 points behind Manchester City, but it has improved an abundance. It lost 10 games in the first run through. This time it lost 6, and it also did better in all the cups as well. It got knocked out in the quarterfinals of the Europa League last time. This time it gets to the semi-final, where they are knocked out by Lazio, again the team that beat G's tactic in the final. It did get to the Carabao Cup though. Again, it was runner-up in that one. It lost to Liverpool, much the same as GYR's tactic, with a scrappy goal in the 11th minute from Cody Gakpo. It did get to the FA Cup final and win it in both of these simulations the second time round. In the ChatGPT variant, we got to the final and we took on West Ham, where Marcus Rashford scored 1, and then Bruno Fernandes went off and scored a hat-trick. So on one side we have GYR, whose tactic on the second run won him a Premier League and an FA Cup double, and it also got to 2 other finals as well in the Europa League and the Carabao Cup. On the other side we have ChatGPT, which did finish in second in the Premier League behind Manchester City. I don't actually see that as a bad feat. It did win them a FA Cup. It got to the final of the Carabao Cup as well, and a little bit disappointing in the Europa League, only getting to the semi-finals. So you're going to have to let me know down in that comment section what you think. Who won this? I'm putting my money on GYR, so it means G, you haven't been retired just yet. But it is interesting to see where technology is going, and the fact that it was able to put a coherent tactic together that actually did win trophies is mightily impressive. If you do like the look of tactics from the amazing GYR, check out this video here. It's where we put 20 of his tactics head to head to find out which one of them is the best in this year's game.